What's going on, guys? It's your boy, the Randy Dandy, bringing you another commentary gameplay. A little bit different than some of my videos I've done in the past, showcasing ranked play and what it entails. I'm going to be talking about some things in Call of Duty that are a little controversial, some things that have tilted me personally in the way the game plays. The first thing I do want to start off with is going to be actually the player base. Some things that have tilted me is I see a lot of big YouTubers. I see a lot of people that I personally look up to making videos, saying how bad the game is and, what Black Ops 4 needs to bring in order to revamp the franchise as a whole. Sledgehammer released us with an unfinished product. And for us as fans, 5.5 months before the release of the next game, should not be quitting on what is currently in front of us. We are still playing. We are going to be stuck with this game for another 5.5 months. I think it is, no better than what Sledgehammer did to us to instantly drop the ball. Like most Call of Duties, they have about a 3-month lifespan and then they get revamped at a DLC. But for us to drop the ball and immediately start talking about what the next game has to do in order to save this franchise is a little bit scummy, and I know I'm going to get some hate in the comments, but it is what it is. Enough of that as far as the actual game. Some things that have been tilting me. I like the new revamp. It's basically Call of Duty World War II remastered. I like the diversity that brings with it. What I didn't see happen that I felt was a more real problem than the actual class setup system were the maps. Some of the new maps that got brought in for PlayStation, like Egypt and V2, are very dynamic and cool maps. Taking that into account, though, that's only 2 or 3 maps out of the, I think it's like 14 we have all together now for a lot of you pub people who don't necessarily partake in rank play. 3-lane maps were brought in to showcase, an MLG style of playing where you have lane 1, 2, and 3, your B-doms, your choke points, your line of sights. But for your average player, what they create is kind of a camp fest in public matches. It allows people to basically lay down in one lane, watch that lane, and call out to their teammates. A lot of players don't necessarily like this. They want more diversity. They want a dynamic feeling map. Going back to Call of Duty World at War as a comparison, maps like Outskirts, maps like Downfall, maps like Courtyard, they weren't 3-lane maps because with any given map, there was 5 or 6 different ways you could reach one point without being in a line of sight of one of these lanes. This is something I think that could easily be introduced into Call of Duty, but at this time they're really catering to the pro circuit. Not hating on the pro guys, but they are a very small section of the actual franchise fan base. Some other things that have been tilting me in this game a little bit are the events. For example, I don't necessarily need a new supply drop. I don't need 400 camos. I don't need, weapon charms and all this other additives that come with the game. What I need is exciting gameplay. I don't want to play stale gameplay to get rewarded with something that's going to cosmetically make the stale gameplay a little more interesting. I would rather the gameplay experience be better than the cosmetic. For example, in our featured playlist, we had things like Dom XL, we have things like the headquarters, free for all and prop hunt and all this other jazz. A lot of this stuff gets removed, and what do we get next week? We get a new mission for a new variant or a new supply drop, a new camo. If they just worked more intensely on the actual gameplay, for example, Dom XL was the saving grace to a lot of respawn type players, people who play the pub matches, because it gave an interesting aspect to the game. There was more reward, there was more reason to go grind the same map and play a little bit differently to actually get rewarded with the streaks. Some other items that are a factor are, again, if I bring it back to the map styles, they introduced Ground War, which is 9v9, and it even says on there, if you actually read the text below, that it's made for medium to large size maps. I ask you guys as a fan base, how is Flak Tower considered a medium sized map? How is that considered a playable map for 9v9? Again, a 3-lane map style with your 2 center, higher up high points where people sit with LMGs, they sit with rifles, and they camp with their bouncing betties. I think they're called trip mines in this game. What is that encouraging, again, in the MLG playstyle? 9v9 MLG playstyle with public match players leads to some of the largest camp fests in the entire world, and half these players, if they are camping on a map like that, are not exactly good. And again, I know I'll get some hate for some of these things I say, but if you have to camp on those maps, even camping, you're probably not going to earn your score streaks. So I'm going to die die 5 or 6 times, and because we don't have Dom XL, because these players don't have a way to accurately, get their points and get these streaks, I am essentially dying for nothing, and it makes the gameplay feel that much slower. At least if these players were able to earn these score streaks while camping and bring in, their carpet bombings and their glide bombs and their fighter pilots, great. You know what? The gameplay feels faster. I'm still tilted, but it is what it is. At least there's a happier player base. They tried to do some of this with requisitions. This is actually another topic for me, is requisitions as a perk. Requisitions is got to be the most infuriating thing as an above average player to deal with in a map. In Ground War, just due to the high number of kills, team deathmatch and kill confirmed having an increased score limit, it allows these requisition players to late game dominate me, somebody who, for the most part, I'm not camping, I'm running around, I'm trying to do the objective, and I just get obliterated by these very high-end score streaks that these players really didn't have to do much to earn. Even as a below average player in a Ground War domination, even if the points are low because there is no domination XL, if that guy can average kill every 10 points accumulating on the domination scoreboard, capture a few bases, UAV assists, whatever you want to call it, by the end of the game, I'm now going to get paratroopers, I'm going to get hit by a carpet bombing, I'm going to get hit by the fire gun, I'm going to get hit by the ball turret gunner, and I'm going relatively positive versus these people that either have an even or a negative KD are coming in with these very high-end score streaks to basically obliterate. And it raises the question again of this map gameplay. With these 3-lane maps, these people are camping, they're using requisitions. Now you're rewarding them for doing badly while they're already playing the game in a very stale manner. It raises a lot of questions to why is this a thing? Was this idea brought up to, make the large majority, which is the below to average players, feel like the game is moving for them, feel like they're accommodating something? And if it is, I can understand where they're coming from. I just think putting it into play a different way would be better, because it's basically like giving somebody a participation trophy. But even in events in real life, if you give somebody a participation trophy, it is what it is, congratulations. But in this game, it's not just giving them a trophy, it's essentially taking away my want to play. It's affecting me, because that trophy is now being dropped on my head in the shape of a flaming bomb. I don't understand, where this went wrong, whose idea this was. It's been complained about for months now. Going back to the very beginning of the video, we as fans have made it very clear that we don't like it, and I guess we're just giving up. We need to be louder about certain perks and certain things we don't like in order to actually change the game, because we have seen that our voice can be heard and will be heard by Sledgehammer in order to improve the game. But right now, I think one of the biggest issues with this game, with Ground War, is the map style, and I hate to single it out, but requisitions as a whole is a damaging perk to the playstyle, because it makes me not want to go into certain game modes knowing that it's going to be an issue. Final thing I want to talk about in this video today is going to be the response at which actually these problems are being solved. Shout out to Korean Savage. This is something that him and a lot of the other level 1000 players have been dealing with, and players like myself, again, who I consider myself a little above average. I do care about the leaderboards, and I care about where I'm placed on there. I don't like the fact that, if I hit one level 1000, I'm going to deal with level 1000 lag. For those of you who don't know what that is, once you hit level 1000, for whatever reason, whether it's the coding in the game or whatnot, it does cause a frame lag within the game. Every time the level 1000 gets, 1 or 2 kills, it will skip for a second, causing the server to actually glitch a little bit. And this has been brought to Sledgehammer's attention as early as January, when people were starting to hit that level 1000. As far as leaderboards are concerned, again, I'm, roughly 4,000 in the world overall, and when I go to look at that leaderboard, I know, and I can tell a lot of other people know, looking at the leaderboard just based on the facts, that I should be higher up compared to these boosters. There's a lot of people on the leaderboards that have, 8 days played, and they are ranked 2,000 in the world. They're level 700, and if you look at it, there's a large grouping of them. There's hundreds of them within that category that have these crazy score per minutes, and the score per minute's always the same. It's always around the 8-day played mark, and so on and so forth, and it's because they boosted to that. I mean, it's very obvious. There's no other logical explanation, and it's been proven. Why can't we, kick them off the leaderboards? Even if you're not going to ban their account, can we remove them because they unlegitly earned their ranking? That way I can move up, and I can, again, feel more rewarded for my accomplishments, rather than these, catered people who use these crutch systems. To me, it seems like Sledgehammer's response to a lot of these is very slow, and it's like they don't care. Talking at the very beginning of the video when I was saying the player base gave up, it almost seems like Sledgehammer has given up, because as long as they collect a paycheck, they really don't care, because there's going to be big YouTubers, there's going to be kids, there's going to be other people that are going to buy these microtransactions, and they're going to make money regardless of what crap they roll off the line. These are just some things that have been tilting me as a player, and I really hope a lot of you, who watch this video take and learn from it and voice your concerns, whether it be forums, whether it be, posting on your favorite YouTubers' Twitter and asking them to complain about it, because if we all get together, we know our voice is going to be heard because we've seen it happen. We just got to do that. We got to put it into play. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. There's a little bit of gameplay left. Please feel free to stick around. In order to see more videos, please drop a subscribe and a comment. Let me know in Call of Duty what's been tilting you, and I can take some of those comments and create my next video with it. Thank you guys. I appreciate you, and have a good day.